missladypetal here, and today I'm doing a challenge with Claudia Rossi from Krazy Island Studios, Gina Ahrens, and Ahrens from Imperfect Impulses. Now I'm going to have and we're doing an inspiration stick challenge, and you can see the sticks have already been pulled because we're all doing the same sticks. But I guarantee you I haven't planned my page. So what we're doing today is we're doing the same 10 sticks and seeing what comes up for 4 different artists. And you can see all the finished pages on all of our channels, and there are links to the other channels in the description of this video below. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first stick is add stamps in at least 3 places. I'm using some of my own hand carved stamps, but the point of the stick is to teach you all about the rule of 3, which is all about composition and balancing your page. I'm going to use 2 stamps because it didn't say I only had to use 1, so I'm using my hand carved chevrons as well. Add paint using a palette knife. That stick should read a scraper or a credit card. There's some very similar effects that you can get. I'm going to go for the credit card after having a look at what I wanted to do. I'm going to use the colours phthalo, turquoise, bright aqua and Naples yellow, and then I'm going to throw magenta over the top and make a lovely purple. So when you scrape it with a credit card, it goes on very, very thin, dries almost instantly, and you get these lovely variegations. And so I just did this quite a bit to try and mix them together. So draw, paint and write in your non-dominant hand. This is a real challenge for me. I hate it. So I got my fine liner and just did scribbly circles. I'm really quite happy with the way they turned out. But of course they took an age to dry. I get the heat gun on them and no, I can't continue, so I walked away for an hour. So turn work upside down for 3 prompts. I don't know if I get it done for the whole 3 prompts, but I start. Add moulding paste through a stencil. So I knew exactly the sort of textural stencil that I wanted, and I used a light modelling paste. I tend not to use heavy modelling paste in journals. That just goes on canvases. And this is just to add some real nice texture, and I just took them out of the circles because I've decided they're going to be my focal point. And just making sure that that surface is flattened out. Add acrylic paint. Yay! Add acrylic paint! I decided that I would use a Liquitex yellow green, a light yellow green. Now this is a hot colour compared to the cools that I've been using, so it's an interesting look to begin with, but it certainly is going to segregate those circles from the rest of the page. And that texture paste is now, the paint's getting caught in it and not caught in it, and it's providing some interest already. But this is just the undercoat for what I'm thinking of with the acrylic paint, because you don't just use 1 with these sticks. It just says use acrylic paint. So if you want to use 10 acrylic paints up for this one stick, go ahead. Alright? And I'm going to spend quite a while actually going around these circles. So while I'm doing that, just a general note about the sticks. So the sticks are there for your inspiration, and you can interpret them pretty much whatever way you want. This is your page, this is your challenge, and so you don't have to be very literal about it. For example, I did one with Happy Mail not long ago, and I decided to stamp on the Happy Mail and create flowers out of it and do something different rather than just sticking it on the page. So it's about thinking creatively within the prompts that you're given. So now I'm just going to scrape that up into my Mash It Up journal because I don't like wasting paint, and I love that colour. Alright, so now I've decided that I'm going to smudge some white paint in and start creating some 3D effects with these circles. Just to make them really start popping from the page. And with the leftover paint, I just decided to finger paint, particularly within those gritty kind of moulding paste. Now I'm just getting a complementary purple, which is very similar to the purple that I actually made with the magenta and the teal. And I'm just adding in that purple to the intersections between the circles, just to give some focal points for the circles. And I'm really enjoying the intersections there. I just think it complements it. It makes it look a little bit abstract, and it's just makes them start to really pop as they're my focal point. So now I'm just thinking about what will I do next. Will I add some more paint? Sometimes I just sit there and look at it and think, where do I want to go? I just went to the next prompt, which is add dots. And I decided that I was going to use a whiteout pen. I'd just gotten this whiteout pen, and it does blobs really quite well. Not particularly round blobs, just blobs. And I thought, well, I'll go around the inside of the circles. So I don't know whether I'll continue with that, but yeah. And then when I was finished, I thought, no, I want to do bubbles. I want to have smaller bubbles and a trail. So we'll see how that goes. The next stick is, oh well, yeah, I've got to dry it. Whiteout dries much faster than paint though, so that means I can go on to the next stick pretty quick. Add something with crayons or pencils. So I pull my portfolios out, and I'm using a deep blue teal, you know, deep blue, which when you put it over the yellow tones in the background kind of looks aqua. And I'm also using a deep purple because I want to not increase that colour palette anymore for this page. So I've decided to change the light direction again and then apply the dark crayons over the white, which will make that purple really pop rather than just being darkened by the paint underneath. And I'm doing a secondary colour because I like to work in threes. And that'll blend, and I'm going to blend these with my finger, not water. And now I'm going to throw a teal in because there's teal undertones and I want it to move into teal as the lightest colour, while still seeing some of the tonings from underneath. So now I'm using that deep turquoise to go around, and then the lighter one that's in the circles just to give a gradation of colour. And now you can see I'm just rubbing those neo colours together and they look like oil pastels. I love the beautiful properties of them. Now I'm going to seal and blend and activate the portfolios with a matte medium rather than water. And this will seal them in and allow me to work over the top of them. So it's always a good idea to sometimes think about using something other. You've got water activated products, you can usually activate them with matte medium as well, and then that helps to seal that product in and allows workability over the top. So it's just continuing to blend, blend, blend. And then I'm going to wipe that off on a sticker sheet, because of course it's formed a glaze. So I'm just sealing that in with a heat gun. Matte medium dries very fast because it's very thin, and I applied it with a brush, so I didn't do it too thick. So now I've decided to change that light source, and I'm putting the whites in the other corners. But I do think the undertone of the white underneath that dark purple's made it pop. So now I'm putting shadows in. So the light source is coming from the right, and almost at a 90-degree angle. I haven't made it angled really. And I'm going to smudge those in. That's a deep purple. Again, I'm keeping to the colour palette. I'm not going to do anything else that clashes. So now I'm putting white highlights across the front where the light is actually hitting, and also increasing the white shadows because the first white layer I thought was not strong enough. And you can still see some of the paint underneath. They're starting to really pop off the page now though. A blue Stabilo War pencil, and I'm focusing to deepen those shadows around the edges. And I again am going to only do it with my fingers. I am not going to activate them with water at this stage. tear paper and collage it down. I got given a new roll of Tim Holtz tissue paper as part of my Christmas present from Vicky McBride at Christmas time, so I thought I would crack that open and have a go at that. And as soon as I saw that row of numbers, I'm like, yep, I'm there, that's it, I want the numbers. So I started ripping it with a ruler and it didn't work. Then a metal ruler, much sharper edge, much happier, but the feathery edge worked out alright as well. And I mainly want the tissue paper because it goes translucent, so you can see the colours go through the background. And that's particularly, it's hard to put over that moulding paste, by the way. You'll see me playing with it later. And I'm sealing the circles now because I want to be able to work over them again if I want, but I don't want them rubbing or being activated by anything else. So now I'm sealing that work in. And then the rule of 3, I just get a little bit more of the tissue paper and pop it in. So when that dries, I'm going to pop a blue portfolio, that dark blue, same portfolio, and throw it over the top, because then it looks like I've actually applied that paper in some sticks ago, some layers ago. So I think it's a really good way of blending it into your background, because you don't want it to actually look like you've just plonked it on. And of course it doesn't take very long to dry. Right, so the next stick. Add a tag, label or envelope. This is the last stick, but it's the longest. So I'm going through my Happy Mail here and finding random tags, and that one I think I'm going to use, but I looked for a couple more. Didn't really find anything that I kind of wanted to use, so I decided that I was going to use that one. It's got the same sort of undertone in the yellow green that I want. And I decided to just deepen it in with the neo colours, in the blue, the teal, the yellow, and then the purple, in the same palette. So I'm using the same palette, but they blend. It's a much smaller space, so they blend more, and you can still see the underlayers. So then I decided I wanted to cut out a window, and I didn't want it square, I just wanted it wonky, so I just cut it out whatever the way the knife went, I went. So it is a bit wonky, and I'm just outlining it with the blue Stabilo Ore pencil with an aqua pen. Just defining it. Now I'm just increasing that purple. I think for me it was still looking a bit yellow, and I wanted it to be a bit different. So the Signo wouldn't write over it because it was still a bit waxy, so I threw the whiteout pen on it and it globuled, and I liked it. I like the globs. So I like that scratchy globby look. It's very contrasting on the dark, and I got a white Prisma colour pencil, and I wanted that kind of shadowy look now, because of course it's going over the top of wax crayon, so it's not quite as opaque as what you'd normally get over just dark cardstock, because it's blending and finding it hard to find as much purchase over a wax crayon. So now I'm using some coordinating purple washi tape that I found in my stash, and I'm going to put it on the back and test the fold, and then reinforce the fold on the inside, and use my fingernail to pop it in the ridges. So I'm going to get that same green, so again I'm staying in the tones. I think when you're doing these pages, it can be an excuse to let everything clash if you don't kind of keep thinking about it. But I just decided I wanted it to stand out, but it still blends in with those yellow tones right next to it. Hand carve, circle, stamp on the sticker sheet again. And I wanted to remind myself what this page was about. So I just decided to journal what it was and who the challenge was with. So that if I looked at it 5 or 6 years down the track, I'd go, oh yeah, I did a stick challenge with these guys. And then I just went, inspiration can be found in odd places, and take you places where you've never been before. That was the thought going through my mind at this point. So I decided to just scribble it in around the circles. You can take you places you've never been before.